We are going.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Creative Businessmen. Today we have Beau James on with us. He's a really talented musician here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Beau, you want to tell everyone about yourself?
Hi, I'm Beau James, or Beau James Wigington, if you know how to spell Wigington, but go by Beau James because it's easier. But I am in a band here called Chuck Mountain, and I play guitar and sing in it. And then I also do stuff as Beau James, and I'm also in a band called the Heavy Heavy Hearts, and I'm also part of Jesse Dunk's new project. So
Awesome.
Lots of things going on.
Yeah. So I was doing an open mic at Westerwood Tavern here in Greensboro, and that's when I saw Beau perform there, and I was like, whoa, this guy's fucking talented. And
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is the one you were telling me
yeah.
about. He did actually. He's like, I was really impressed. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah. So
A little hidden gem.
Yeah.
now I haven't gotten to talk to you a whole lot, but you're originally from Tennessee, right? Or you were living in Nashville?
Originally, I originally grew up in Colorado, moved out to North Carolina when I was 17, finished high school, went to college here, lived in L.A. after that for about 4 years, and then moved to Nashville, lived there for about 4 years, and then moved back here about 3 years ago.
Okay. Now, why did you move back here?
I was paying so much money to live in Nashville, and Nashville is great. I think that if you're a musician, you should go and at least live there for a while. But it's gotten so oversaturated with people that it's gotten past you can't be a musician and survive as being a musician. But here in Greensboro, to make ends meet, it's not that hard,
Okay.
Because it's I had a house here that I bought when I was in college and had been renting it out, and it was a third of the price to just move back and live in my house, pay my mortgage, than what I was paying in rent on one bedroom that I shared with a roommate as well. And I was just like, man, let's get out of here. And I mean, I've been in the music industry for a while, and I was on a label, did the touring for a long time, but I enjoy just writing, putting stuff out, and moving here, a big goal was to help younger kids learn, the Jesse Dunks or younger people here in town, help them, hey, this is how you recorded a song, this is how you put it out, this is how you should try and to engage people, and this could make you you got to find your story, and just helping people learn that it's not just I'm just gonna go play in a bar and then someone's gonna pick me up and everything's gonna magically happen. You know? It's because I lived that fantasy for a while, and then I moved to LA and I was 6 months I'm gonna be famous, and then 6 months I was just I'm broke. And it's just I think that our generation that we're living in now in music and entertainment, people just kind of think that it's just snap the finger, just all of a sudden you get one viral video and you're going to be a hit forever, and it's no, it's you got to constantly grind, and you got to get out there and constantly do things, and it is super draining, and it's not an old man's game anymore. You gotta get in when you're young and just go out there and just hit it hard.
Well, I guess also it's a digital age, so the world is much smaller today. And I think you don't have to be in these big markets to produce good material and be profitable with it, because you can produce your own music videos, you can have your own content, and if people like it, it'll grow.
Yeah.
And no matter where you're at.
Yeah, most people, today, a big thing that's happening is TikTok. That's how people are getting, there's a song that, I don't know about copyright issues, but it's the Roxanne song. And and that song, he had no plays on Spotify, and then it blew up on TikTok, and he went from having a couple hundred plays on that song to 3.5 million plays on that song. And it's all because
insane.
And TikTok is just becoming a new gatekeeper, it's if you become a viral video, it's you'll get huge, but it's it's that 15 minutes of fame is becoming shorter and shorter, it seems.
Right, yeah. But you have to keep producing content.
Yeah.
It's momentum.
Yeah, you can't be a one-hit wonder anymore, because that's just a flash in the pan.
That's an attention span thing too, though.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think it's going to become more and more common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the old music industry model was you put out an album, it's you have 10 to who knows, 20 songs on an album, and you put it out, and it's like once like every other year you're putting out these albums and touring them to death, and now it's just like people are like, don't put out albums, just put out singles. And like that's what I've been doing. Like I was on a label called Random Records, and they were like, let's try this new technique where, you know, we'll put out singles, and then once we put them all out, then we'll put it out as an EP. And I mean, I didn't really see a difference in the EP or the single method, you know. 'Cause nowadays, it's you go to someone's Spotify and you listen to their top 5 songs, and that's like what people mainly know about artists, because there's so much content these days.
That's true. Yeah.
That's like, okay, well, you know, these are socially proven, you know, because that's like a huge part of being a musician these days, is that it doesn't work to be like, hey, check out my song. It has to be like your friend saying, hey, check out this song, and then they're like, oh, I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
You know? But it's social proof. That's what it's called. And,
Okay.
And so like that's the game nowadays, and
It's like street cred.
yeah. It's street cred off the streets.
Yeah.
You know, online cred.
It's good though, because you don't have to go through the big production companies and stuff now.
Yeah.
And I
It
guess with your experience, you could probably even produce some of these smaller guys, right? Like you could actually produce their stuff for them.
I have a studio at the house, because that was like a big part of moving here, is that, you know, I've paid a lot of money for recording in the past, and I've always had recording stuff, and I've just never learned to use it. And so like since I've moved here, it's just been, I have been producing like all my own stuff, and then the band, Chuck Mountain, our bass player, he owns a recording studio called Lazy Dog Records.
Okay.
Or Lazy Dog Recordings, sorry.
Oh.
But he has a studio at his house, so we've just been recording there, and I've been helping him try to produce some new people, and just keeping it local, man, keeping it small. Like everyone thinks that you have to spend an arm and a leg to make a good song, and
the recording software is so cheap now, and the equipment's not crazy.
Yeah, no, like for under $1,000. Like there's a guy out in Nashville. His name is slipping my mind. It was Jay Oliver, I think, something Oliver. But he had a song that was really big on the local radio out there, and he recorded it all on GarageBand on his phone.
Wow.
And like that was it. And it's like that proves to you that, you know, people are not really listening to the super high quality anymore. It's just like, do I like this song? You know, does it catch me?
Is it good quality?
Yeah.
Or is it good content, I guess?
Yeah, because most musicians, they record, like when you're thinking of recording, you're like, okay, I need to use this mic, we need to use this guitar because it's going to have this tone, and we're going to play this syncopation because it'll really emphasize this part of the song, and the listener's just like, this sounds cool. You know, it's like they're not being like, oh man, that was definitely on a J200 recorded with a ribbon mic. You know? And it's just, everyone gets trapped. I mean, myself included. Like, I feel like now is the day of getting trapped in information. You know, it's like, oh, I need to take a class. Like, I could take a class on learning how to mix these lo-fi beats, or I could take a class to learn how to like make my own samples, or I could take this class, and there's like all
that's
these
another
people.
thing too that's really cool today is you have access to so much information. Like if you want to learn something new, it's there. And also something that we wanted to do on this show is to have on some local talent, because there's so many talented people locally that most people don't even know about. Like you. I mean, you're a super talented artist, and you know, people should be able to hear your work.
It's keeping it low key.
Yeah.
I like flying under the radar.
Keep it on the DL.
Yep, keep it on DL. If you want it, it's there. If you don't worry. It's okay. But it's now infotainment is like another thing, another buzzword. I love buzzwords because it's just like, okay, what's going on? What's the new buzzword? And infotainment is like, instead of people learning, it's just kind of like having informational like entertainment now. You know? It's like, because I like, even myself, like I subscribe to this new course and I'll watch for like 4 hours, and like 3 hours in, I'm just like, I have no idea what I've been watching. You know, it's like, I don't know what I've been watching at all, and it's just kind of like that glazed eyes over. It's like kind of sit back, eat my goldfish as I'm watching a guy show me how to mix in a multi-million-dollar studio that I don't have or have access to. You know? But it's the idea that counts.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're storing a little bit of that information.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
so-
it's little pieces.
Yeah,
you
little
know?
nuggets.
It's like,
That's the way I treat books though. Like if I read an entire book and I can just learn one thing,
yeah.
Right.
like one thing, or reinforce one thing that I thought I already knew, or
Yeah.
like, and so you're reading a book that you might put 7-10 hours in, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the length of the book, and you hope to get one thing. So maybe you watch 7 to 10 hours of this thing, and
Yeah.
maybe you got one thing that stuck and it was worthwhile.
Well, and it's like kind of like it's sorting, you know.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of just I
Yeah.
don't need to know this.
Right.
The
you know.
fluff too.
I don't
Yeah.
like mailing lists. I know I'm bad. I should be using a mailing list, and there's courses of like how to supercharge your mailing list to get the most opens. You know, it's like I don't care. I just want to write a song, put it out there. But that's what you have to do. You have to
Yeah.
learn these things that make you want to beat your head against the wall because it's not something I want to do. But
Right.
but you just can't in this day and age. You know, that's a lot of music industry books say. You know, if you don't want to be your own publicist, your own publisher, you don't want to be your own record company, your photographer, your videographer, your web hosting, like if you don't want to be all these things, don't do music because you have to do it all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
like unless you want to pay so much money that you're never going to make.
Just have a
you
big
know?
budget, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too that you talk about the infotainment because you know when you're sitting there watching that video, you know, trying to gather information, there's millions of other people doing the same thing,
Yeah.
and that's something I've thought about a lot with just humanity as a whole. You know, we've been here for you know, archaeologists believe maybe 300 and some thousand years,
Yeah.
like Homo sapiens have, and you think we haven't really done anything technologically impressive until the past couple hundred years,
Yeah. It's the
and
aliens,
it's
man.
got to be our population. You know, we there's 8 billion people on the planet now,
Yeah.
and we constantly share information. So you can actually take a book that someone wrote, and it's their life's work. They spent their whole life gathering this knowledge, and you can read that book and study that book and learn their life's work in a fraction of the time. And now in the digital age, we're constantly sharing this knowledge and information with each other exponentially. So it's pretty amazing, you know.
Yeah. It's just so much is out there. Like I can't remember what they were like. There was some statistic out there saying that there was like 40,000 hours worth of content posted to like Facebook every minute. you
Sure,
know? And it's
yeah.
like there's so much content that will never be able, like no one would ever be able to like probably until the end of the universe finish all the content that's out there.
Until it's all just in our head. Like,
Yeah, I
until we're
know.
all linked up to the network.
Starlink, man. We saw that. Have you seen the the Starlink, the SpaceX? They're launching the low orbit satellites.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah,
So it was
to
maybe-
provide free internet to people.
Yeah, I can't remember when it was. It was sometime in either March or April. They launched some more. And luckily, I had seen something about it because I'm a huge UFO person. And we had just made a fire pit out back of our house, and we were just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, I just see one light and then another light, and they're all in a line. And I'm just like, it's happening. And then it was like 20 lights just going across the sky, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's just
That's-
SpaceX.
It's just
Darn
Elon
it.
Musk.
You crazy mad scientist out there. But we were thinking, it's like, how many people don't know about Starlink?
That's
And
true.
They're just like freaking out, you know? They're
Yep.
just like,
We know Jeff Bezos is going to do the same thing. Both of those guys they're dropping low Earth orbit satellites that will provide free internet access to people.
man.
But Elon Musk also has Neuralink, which is like
Yeah.
an implant. So eventually we'll just all be linked together through Starlink, I guess.
I don't know, man. I'm
It'd
not.
be like the Matrix. You can just download information. Yeah.
It'd be cool. I would love to know how to play flamenco guitar.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
The,
I think
the only problem is I'll be able to play that too.
I know.
And I'm not a guitarist.
Well, that's the thing about it is like I go back and forth because I'm just like, no, I don't want to like have my brain hooked up to the internet and like be able to just constantly be in this stream that drives me insane.
Yeah, we'll probably just lobotomize ourselves.
I know.
Just information overload.
Too much. I mean,
My eyes are bleeding.
it's just too much connection. Is like the whole idea of Facebook was like, it's like there's no such thing as too much connectivity, and it's like I still just want to like go camp in the woods and disconnect for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, hopefully we'll have some kind of a firewall.
Yeah, over our national parks, they'll have a cell blocker.
Oh,
out
there you go. Yeah.
It's a good idea.
We may end up being like one
Hey,
big being.
Technology-free zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Maybe it retreats.
I think the future's going to be really strange.
I think so too.
I
I
think
think it already is.
20
but,
years, it's going to be like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
I remember what the world used to be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah, that's. But you know, it's history is always repeating itself, and maybe we're just like reaching that Atlantis phase again, where
Who knows?
like
Yeah.
there was this super advanced civilization that was lost, and we're getting pretty advanced.
We
Yeah.
are. I think it's evolution, though. I think it's just we don't know what we're doing. No one knows what we're really doing, why we're constantly innovating and building technology, and
Yeah.
and the things that we say are human made, like this microphone or
Yeah.
all this technology. It's all natural too. It's all the same stuff. We're just manipulating material that's already existing, and we're doing it exponentially. So, and we don't even know why. We just keep.
It's just a sandbox.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to
Yeah.
play. You know.
So we're building something, but who knows what that is? I think I kind of feel like we'll just be this one organism, like this singular consciousness.
singularity.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Right.
You know what I think is weird, and I don't have this all worked out, but imagine advanced society, right? As society advances, we're not using pen and paper as much anymore, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, that goes away, right? And right now, you can imagine the data you can store on this phone, right? Compared to what the supercomputers of the 80s and 90s. I mean, like, this phone beats any of them.
Oh, yeah.
right? Well, what's the technology? This phone might be 1,000x this and be in this big of a device, right? So as information that we can store gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and stronger processing, well then this whole thing for me is like, well, why don't we have evidence of all these societies? What if it's the same type of thing? Like,
So they just
They got
everything
rid of-
was on
yeah,
computers. and-
yeah, man, they had all this stuff, all this data, right? And then it got wiped, and there was no brick and mortar, right? Maybe people didn't know how to write anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like you just don't know.
Well, there's
Well, the argument against that is that there wasn't enough population. It's the human population that causes the
Yeah.
exponential technology. And I think at one point, maybe 12,000 years ago, the human population was knocked down to like 10,000 people. We were almost wiped out.
Yeah,
Battlestar Galactica. Have you seen that?
I'll have to check it out.
Both seasons,
you've got-
both shows are great.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It is. So it's just the human beings have created all of these robots to do jobs for us and protect us, and then all of a sudden, you know, it flips, and they're just like, nope, we're turning the tables, and so everyone escapes. Like everyone's like fleeing Earth, and there's only like 10,000 people left, like humans left, but there's the alien, or not the alien, the robots have evolved to have like human-like looking people called Cylons, and they look exactly like a person, but they're like trying to destroy humanity, and it goes far. It's
I'm about to check it out.
it's
Yeah.
so good.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it is amazing, but it's scary at the same time because it just kind of shows you, like, we're on this trajectory. We just
Oh, yeah.
SpaceX just happened.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
people can go to the moon soon.
Yeah.
Oh, we could be living in a simulation of some sort, you know. It could,
I like
It
that.
could all be,
Yeah.
because we do know that, you know, science has proven that everything is data.
Yeah.
So it's all data.
Ones and zeros.
And when you think about quantum physics, which I really enjoy reading a lot of science stuff, but nothing is solid. There are no solid particles. Everything is waves. You know, it's all fields. You know, so that's what quantum field theory is about. You know, so everything is just like you have magnetic fields. Well, everything is fields. Even like an electron is not a physical, like, hard particle. It's actually just a field. It's a wave,
Yeah.
a wave function. And
Does that include Jesse's shorts?
it does.
It's just a wave, man. Ride it.
Yeah.
Let's ride the wave.
So it's really strange that there are no like what we consider
What's wrong with my shorts?
solid is it's not really solid.
Yeah. Well,
I got a segue here. Have you ever wore shorts on the podcast before?
I think once.
It's throwing me off. I'm sitting over here. I'm chatting with you. I'm listening to all this like really scientific stuff.
It's the blinding
And,
light.
and I
coming
look
through the
over and
table.
I see these like neon stripes on the bottom of your short. I'm like,
Hey,
wow,
they're
he's wearing.
working.
Yeah,
It's working.
It's working, bro.
It is.
That's-
It's
yeah,
working.
that's what they're for.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
You're getting my attention. Anyway, sorry. You threw me off on a tangent there. I was like, this guy's got shorts on. Anyway, back to what you were saying, Neil. The important stuff.
Quantum physics to Jesse Shorts.
Yeah, Jesse's shorts, man.
So it's all the same though.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Just vibration.
Physics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the world's weird, man. I think as science progresses, we're learning more and more that we really don't know anything
Yeah.
about anything.
It's they always say that history is moving in reverse. You know what we don't know anything right now, but maybe we did back in the past, and it was just lost history that we'll rediscover again. And like Tesla, like all of Tesla's research, like it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's starting to magically show up that there's he wanted to give free energy to everybody, and J.P. Morgan was paying for this like free energy device that he didn't know, but he was trying to give like radio energy to like an entire town, and then they found out about it, and they're like, "Oh, we're
That's
gonna have to
right.
cut
Yeah,
that
Elon's
out."
a good dude. He's important for our society for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and Tesla, like he's trying to do the solar shingles, like
Yeah.
that was a big thing.
The Tesla
I
roof,
think would
yeah.
be so cool. Just like trying to use the energies that we can harvest, but
And we need that too, because if currently we're a little susceptible. We have a very fragile society. I mean, we can see that with some of the stuff that's happening right now, but
yeah.
but technologically we're very fragile because we're completely moving to an all digital society, and that means all of our information is digital. And if there's some type of a big astronomical
flare.
event, yes, a huge solar flare or something like that, it could wipe out all of our technology, and then we would be in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Well, then
the infrastructure, like the power infrastructure, was built a while ago.
Yeah.
Like this was not even this was like, that's space age stuff we're talking about. That's never, this is going to handle what we're doing right now. But, it's like just thinking about how much stress is being put on these old power grids.
Right, yeah.
It's like,
it's very likely that in 20 years, most houses will have solar shingles, at least in areas that get a lot of sunlight. And then there's also some new nuclear technologies that are really interesting, like mini nuclear reactors that are much safer than anything in the past, and they can actually be shut down if they have to. Nuclear is really clean. Yeah, that's about the cleanest energy.
Yeah. Have one in your backyard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
look at my new grill. It's also nuclear
Hey, at least if it
powered.
fails, you die quick.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah, it's a-
You tried those nuclear burgers yet?
yeah, man.
Hey, they've got the lab created meats that's
Oh,
going to
there
come
you
out
go.
this year
I know.
too.
Hey,
That-
to hell with the Traeger grill. I want a nuclear grill.
Yeah. I don't need that egg. I want my nuclear egg.
Yeah.
Just throw it in the reactor.
It'd be a steamer. It'd be good for steaming things.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use the steam off of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Dim sum. Have you ever had dim sum before?
I haven't.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's delicious.
Steamed dumplings and fried dumplings.
Oh, I have had
It's
that.
like a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
different
It's very
And
good.
it's
yeah.
all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. You eat what you got and dim some more.
Yeah. I like that. You should put that on a shirt.
Hey, I should.
Yeah.
I should. I just came up with that with Off the Fly, too, so.
If you opened a
I'm proud of
dumpling
myself.
restaurant.
There you go.
My wife says I'm allowed to be proud of myself.
Every once in a while. You
Yeah.
know.
Not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go overboard. But
That's
every
right.
once in a while, you're just like, I did good.
Yeah, I did good.
I did good. That was a good.
Yeah. But she said if you say it too many times, then you're just bragging.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't want to brag.
So, what got you into music, man?
Well, my mom, she played piano and sang like throughout my childhood, and then I started playing guitar in 3rd grade and then quit because I was just like, I'm a third grader. I don't want to sit in lessons and practice. And then I got into middle school, and I saw that if you played guitars, girls thought you were pretty cool. And so I started, my dad had a guitar up in the attic that he bought like back in the 80s. He never really learned, but he had all these like Jimmy Buffett and Eagles books, like Play Along. And the first song I ever learned was Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett, followed by Hotel California afterwards.
Hey,
That's cool.
But then I just started writing. Like, I was like, I don't like learning songs. I'll just make them up. And it's way easier to remember songs that you just make up.
Yeah.
in my opinion. And so I just kept writing and writing and writing. And that's just been since, like, middle school.
That's awesome, man. What was your first band?
Oh, my first band was called Broken Hollywood. And then we changed the name to Under These Circumstances. And it was my high school band. We played our first gig in my parents' attic. It was pretty cool. We had kids from school came out.
Oh, that's cool.
It was pretty cool.
that's awesome.
How old are you now, man?
I'm 33 now.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
still pretty young.
So I've been doing it for, like, professionally. That's you gotta say music professionally.
Right, yeah.
I've been doing music professionally for about 10 years now.
Okay.
Like, since I left college, like, it's been like the main focus of what I've been doing.
That's
But
awesome.
I went to school for acting, but then I got into UNCG's BFA program. And
Okay.
made it about halfway through, and I was like, I started a band, and I was like, no, this is the way I want to go. But I tell people the acting degree was the best degree I could have ever wanted to go and get. Just I learned how to sew, learned how to build, I learned how to wire electronics. I learned how to just like have conversations with people, engage, listen to people, you know.
Yeah.
And it's helped me a lot. I taught a person how to make hats because I made a hat making. Like, I took hat making class because I didn't want to take the other class. Like, it was either hats or dialects, and I was like, I don't want to do dialects. I want to make hats. I was in Nashville, and it was New Year. I think it was a New Year's Eve show in Nashville, and I was outside waiting for a cab, and this guy walked up, and he had a really cool hat on, and I started talking to him about it. I was like, I learned how to make those in college, and he was like, no way, man. I'll give you free cab rides for the rest of however long you want if you teach me how to make hats. And so I was like, sure, man.
Nice.
And so we met up at a Chinese buffet and sat there, and I just explained to him what he had to do, and then he just went on to start making hats. And I was like, see, college.
Awesome. That's great.
It's not all useless. You know?
Oh, that's funny.
So my parents, they laugh about me having an acting degree a lot of the time, because I lived in LA, and I did not really like. I was in a Hanson music video in LA.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I think that was the only acting thing I actually did out
Bop.
there. And that was Get the Girl Back. Get
Oh,
the
oh.
Girl Back. It was pretty fun. And then, like, I've always just done like funny little extra parts on. If there's ever a show I knew my mom would watch,
Yeah.
I would try to get an extra position on it. Like,
Yeah.
there's one called Still the King. It was Billy Ray Cyrus. He
Okay.
has a show on CMT called Still the King, and a friend of mine's mom was the casting director, and she was like, do you want to be on this new Billy Ray Cyrus show? I was like, yeah, I do. So I was an inmate in prison when he got locked up. I was just sitting right across from him, and my mom saw it. She was like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, because I knew you'd be watching.
That's funny.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah, it's,
So you never really tried to pursue acting, though? It was always music?
yeah, acting is just like, I think going to acting school made me not want to act, just
Oh.
because it was just constant. And we were kind of chatting before everything about creative burnout, and like going to like a conservatory style acting school where it's like all you do all the time, you have to do this, and you have to like, it was just too much. I was like, I would rather just like play music, and if people are gonna judge me for being like entertaining, at least it's like something I'm creating, you know.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I was always like, I don't have anything against acting, but like constantly having to say exactly words that aren't my own, and
That's true. Yeah.
That's why I like improv too. I was in the Idiot Box during college.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
Video Box is an awesome place.
it's fun stuff.
Yeah, I think as an actor, I think the idea of producing your own content is still very appealing to me. Like it's more appealing to me than working on other people's projects.
'Cause it's you have the hardest thing I had was the like analyzing, trying to like. There's so many different ways you could take a piece of text,
Yeah.
and it was just like trying to get the message that was going to satisfy everybody,
Right.
and like be the most concise way of saying this, but then it could, it's like Shakespeare was always hard, because Shakespeare, you could take it so many different ways, and then there's like all these hidden meanings between things.
Plus, it's a different language.
Yeah, it's a much different language, but I do like iambic pentameter. Like that was my favorite thing about Shakespeare, because it just like if you start learning a lot of iambic pentameter, it makes you can rhyme like crazy.
Interesting. Okay.
It's like really good for just, if you read a lot of Shakespeare, it's just going to automatically, you're going to think of different ways to rhyme things.
Yeah, I've never done any Shakespeare, so
Yeah.
it took me a long time just to learn how to speak English properly. So I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Being
Well-
born in the South, it's kind of a curse.
Oh yeah.
On the language front, so yeah.
Well, if you go to acting school, you have voice class. That was another really trippy thing, is that there's a dialect. It's a neutral American dialect where you're supposed to have as an actor, so they can't play, like if you just need to be like not from this place or that place, we just want a very neutral American dialect where no one can tell where you're actually from. You're just speaking very clearly and concisely.
I took a lot of dialect classes just to try to develop that.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot.
It definitely
I
does.
studied at a really good acting school in Charlotte called the Actors Lab for 5 years.
Oh, cool.
I did 1 year of private studies and then 4 years of classes, and really enjoyed it. There's a lot of good actors that have come out of that school, but I also took some dialect classes at Belmont College.
Nice.
Yeah, and that helped tremendously.
Yeah, dialects. It's so interesting to just see, like, the thing I like about dialects is just understanding why certain sounds come from certain places.
Right. Yeah. Hey, to me, it's I can pick up other accents pretty easily, but just learning to speak standard American English properly was really hard for me. And I still struggle with it some, just because your tongue has been doing
constantly
something
think
for
about
30
it.
some years, and then you try to change it. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I moved here from Colorado, and everyone was like, "You have a weird accent," and I was like, "Come on, you guys have the accent here." Yeah.
Colorado is a very distinctive accent too.
Yeah.
Though.
Well,
It's more clear though.
Everyone would always be like, "It's Colorado," and I'd be like, "I grew up there. It's rad. It's Colorado."
Colorado.
That's the main thing people can always hear, and like, I guess Nevada.
Yeah.
Nevada. But that was the biggest thing. People are saying, "No, that's incorrect." And I'm just like, I lived for 17 years. I'm pretty sure we know how to say our state.
I'm sure it's like other places too. Like here, you have multiple dialects within the state
Yeah.
too. You have like I'm sure you have like your more rural people that speak differently than the city people.
Yeah. Well, and my name's Beau. A kid in high school came up to me and he's like, "Hey, Beau," and I was like, "Hey." And he was like, I was like, "How'd you know my name?" He was like, "That's your name? Your name's Beau? You're gonna have to change it. That's what we call everybody." And I was like, "Oh man."
Well, where we grew up in Asheboro, North Carolina, there's a lot of different accents there.
Yeah.
Because you have some people that have like a real Appalachian
Oh,
type
yeah.
Yeah.
accent. It's kind of nasally and really high pitched, and then you have people that just don't even speak English.
Yeah. Yeah, it was different.
And Daniel speaks really clearly. He has really clear English, but he was a military kid though. So
Yeah, I traveled. We were
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm from.
all
I
over.
can name all the places, but yeah, so it's different. I think I credit that. My father's awesome, but I think the articulation comes from my mother.
Yeah.
So for sure. Asheboro was crazy. Literally, you end up with these, and I know every school has these sects that these different division, but he's exactly right. There was people that said Beau, obviously.
Hey, Beau.
Yeah.
Hey, Beau.
Hey, Beau.
There was all kinds of things, but they'd say the same word 10 different ways.
Yeah.
I remember
So-
that when I was probably like 19, I was an assistant manager at this business in Asheboro, and I was changing the security tape, and I played it, and I could hear myself and one of the other guys speaking, and I was like, oh shit, do I sound like that? Is that how I talk?
Well, that's recording in general. Like most people, like if you record their voice, like singing is so weird to most people because like when you listen to your recorded voice, you're just like,
It's weird, especially the first time.
that's
Yeah.
not me. You know, it took years to just be like, oh, okay, I'm okay that I'm not perfect. I know I'm not going to be perfect. But like recording yourself, it'll drive you insane.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't like the sound of my voice when I first recorded in film school and had to
Yeah.
do all that kind of stuff. It was just like, that doesn't sound like me. But,
It doesn't feel right. you
Yeah, when I
know?
first started taping auditions, I was like, oh,
Gotta work on
that's
that.
not good. I don't like that.
It's a bad look.
Yeah. It's wild because like it's terrifying to some people to like be like, that's what I sound like. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And it's just like their whole world just starts falling apart. And I get it. Like my voice compared to like I found recordings recently, like changing everything over to a new computer. I found recordings from college, and it was like when I had like voice class and then class voice. So it was like singing class and then just like speaking class. And my voice back then to what it is now, it's just like, who was that guy? Like he was like, it was very pretty, you know, it was like a very pretty like singing voice. But then now it's just like, I feel like my voice, I've learned how to, you know, it takes a long time to find your voice as
Yeah.
a singer. And once you do, there's no going back because you're just like, this feels good. This is where, like, I really feel like I could just kind of let it rip.
Right.
But then you, like, listen back to that, and it's like, man, well, that was a really pretty voice that guy had.
That's probably technical. So now you've learned your style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just, like, years of use and abuse as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It always gives you kind of characteristics of...
I like that though. Some like when I hear somebody sing, and I hear their voice, and I feel like their voice, not what they're saying, but their voice is kind of telling a story too.
Oh yeah.
Like some people can sing, and I can maybe it just comes across this way, but I can feel the pain in their
Yeah.
voice, right? And for whatever they're singing, and maybe that doesn't always jive up, but I've got a guy I've got a lot of people in my family that are pastors. So my grandparents have a church in Wilkesboro, and there was a guy that I remember singing, and you could just feel the pain in his voice, right? And like I don't know what that example, but it just meant something different. But I guess it'd be funny to see him sing a happy song. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also kind of it's kind of like photogenic. Like people who are photogenic, everyone can just like stand there and get a picture taken, but you know, it's like they say, think about something. You have to be thinking about something for it to convey in your eyes. And it's in the same way, like it's really easy to be a musician. Like I've noticed myself a lot over the past couple of years, like going out and playing a gig and just kind of running through the motions. And then there's gigs that you get into it and you're like, you're actually like just kind of angry or sad or whatever. You just kind of ride this roller coaster, or you just coast, you know.
Yeah, like
So-
you have to have a point of view. Just like acting, you have to have a point of view.
Mhm. You gotta have the action. You got
Yeah.
your actions that you have to call people on their actions, and
Yeah.
it's all. I mean, and that's why I also say like having an acting degree, being a musician, like you learn how to tap into. Oh, this is conveying an emotion, and then Jim Wren, he's one of the acting professors over at UNCG, and he in his class he taught this thing. I always make fun of him for it. It's called psychological gesture, where you like make a position that makes you feel a certain emotion, and then every time you need that emotion, just think of that position you were in, you know. And so like like singing, you know, when I'm in front of a microphone or playing with a band, I can sing things that I could never, like, I write songs a lot of times, and I was like, well, I'm never going to be able to sing that one. It's way too far out of my range. And then you start playing with a band, and it's just, like, perfect. And you're just like,
Yeah.
who's who's really writing these songs right now?
That's the weird thing about ideas and thoughts, man. It's like, where do they come from? Because
Space.
when I write too, I'll write stuff like if I'm writing a screenplay or something, and it's just like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's why this person does this, or, I've already, maybe written out the paradigm, so I know what, where it's going generally, but things will happen, or characters will appear, or things in your writing happen that you don't feel like had anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Like it just happened.
That's like songwriting. Like there's two schools that they teach. There's the inspirational songwriting, or there's the craft songwriting. And for years I was just like, I don't want nothing to do with that craft stuff, because I just need to be inspired. And then you fall, like, it's like I have to live with pain and suffering to like conjure up all these feelings. And like I was a really bad alcoholic for years,
Okay.
But it was like, the more I wrote songs about whiskey and drinking and like being like, am I drinking too much? People were like, yeah, I get that. That's a cool song, And then it was like just last year, actually, I stopped. I just had a really bad night. And then next day I was like, no more. Started, like, I did AA for a while, but it just was not my jam. Like,
yeah.
And I think it's great for people that it works for, but I was like, okay, I'm seeing the world in different eyes, And like being a musician, it's like that's your world. You live in bars, and you like get like a lot of times you get paid in beer or liquor.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get paid money. It's like, because who needs money, right? You're really here for the alcohol anyway,
Yeah.
And so then like cutting that out, I was just like, holy cow, It's like my life expenses, like just living month to month. It's like. It's like a joke, It's like, no wonder teenagers don't need jobs, It's like it doesn't really take that much money to feed somebody, like for a month,
Alcohol's expensive though.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Lucky's Burger and Tap in Asheboro. I used to own the bar with Paul Talley, who owns Arizona Pizza and Comedy Zone. So if you grew up Idiot Box, you should at least familiar with those other businesses. But we owned Lucky's Burger and Tap, and we had musicians that they would get their dinner for free that night while they were there, and we would run them a tab, and we would give them a certain amount per night.
Yeah.
So they could eat food and drink for free, right? For free.
And then you get your tips.
Yep.
And
Yep. And that was very common, actually. I mean,
there's like, I don't know how many gigs I've played. Like, it wasn't really like in Nashville, you never really get paid. It's like, and if you are getting paid, you're paying your band.
Yeah.
And it's because there's not just like, hey, you guys want to get together and jam? It's like out there, it's like, no, I have 4 rehearsals to get to. I'm playing two shifts tonight downtown. I don't have time to do some fun. Let's get together and hang out like for free.
Yeah.
It's fun. The arts are kind of strange when it comes to employment, because it's like that in acting too. Like you do a lot of jobs, especially early on, independent stuff,
the exposure
for free. Like, we're not going to pay you, but we'll give you the tape.
Yeah.
You get to work.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like the opposite of everything else. Like everything else, you have to get paid.
Yeah.
It's legally you have to get paid.
Not
But it's like, this guy's an artist. He doesn't have to get paid.
Yeah.
He's not working anyway. He's just playing.
We'll pay him in puppies and rainbows and flowers.
Yeah.
My friend, so I worked at a venue, and they had like an outdoor event. My friend was the bartender for it outdoors. And at the end of it, they came and took all of his tips. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to divide this up between everyone that worked today. But don't worry, you're going to get records too. Like you'll get like credit for records. And he was just like, dude, records don't feed my kid. Like my kid can't eat records. Like,
right. Yeah.
I worked for this money all day. Like I was out here the entire time serving, and that's my money, you know. And he was like, oh, if you really feel that way. And it's like, yeah, dude. Like, it's like, I already play for free. I'm not going to bartend for free.
Right.
For records, It's like, I need to pay some bills, not chill out.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, that's why I'm working. I'm working so that I can make money. I'm not working so I can just like have something to kick back and chill with.
Especially if it's a really talented artist too. It's really insulting.
Yeah. Well, and people don't really see that. It's like the exposure thing. It drives me insane,
I hate it.
But it's just like,
how much exposure do you need before you get paid?
Yeah.
I'm still asking that question, man. a lot of times there's like, well, it's really good exposure for you. It's like, no, it's a really good reason for you to like try to not pay somebody
Right.
for
Right, yeah.
providing a business, like
Yeah.
something for
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah.
And I get people, like another big thing that's popping up is that people are saying that like when you're going out playing, there's like, oh, it has to be totally unlicensed, royalty-free music. And it's just like, that doesn't exist, y'all. Like it's
Right.
like when you, like as a musician, when you go and play, like if I was to go play like the Ducati shop, like you know, I could put my set list in and say like I played all these songs, and then you get royalties for those. But then they would hit up that Ducati shop and be like, hey, we have a report of a performance, and you aren't paying any performance fees and all that kind of
What?
stuff. You know, well,
Wow.
that's. But there's like places that are like you have to play stuff that's not licensed because we don't want to have to pay for the license. And it's like, well, but you know that paying that license is what is bringing people. You know, if you're like, we have a band on Saturday night,
Yeah.
you're promoting people. Hey, come see this band. But you know they don't want to pay for having that band there, and it's causing a really big tiff between venues and breweries right now, because breweries, they'll just have you come out and play for like 3 hours and pay you some cash and beer and you're out, you know. And
Yeah.
then the venues, you know, they have to pay like a percentage of their profits every single time to like have people come play.
Is that how it works with royalties and music? You have to pay a percentage of the profits? Or is it a set fee?
It varies on different things. Like with live, you can submit your set list and you'll get paid royalties for each time you play public, like a public performance mechanical is what it's called.
Okay.
But you do it that way because that's a way people can like tour consistently and make some kind of money, even if like you're going on a tour where you've never played in 5 of the 6 cities that you're going to, but you need to go get an anchor date somewhere. You know, you need to have somewhere to go to in the future that maybe there'll be 5 people this time, but maybe there'll be 10 people next time. And then after that, 20 people, you know, you have
Yeah.
to like establish these places. But in the meantime, you still get paid a little bit from your royalties.
Okay.
And
What are the royalty fees for the bar or the brewery or whatever this?
it's a percentage. I don't know
So
exactly.
it's just a percentage of whatever they make?
There's like percentage ones. There's blanket licenses, but I don't think
Yeah.
like it deals with like how big you are and how many your capacity.
How many
and all that
tickets you
kind of stuff.
have and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it varies. Like I need to do a lot more research into the restaurant one because people have just like are so confused by it right now. And
Yeah.
it's just like, man, if we just like made it easier. Like I want to figure out if there's a way to work with like ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, like establishing like a set blanket that like breweries can pay, so it's like they're not like afraid that they're gonna get sued and all that kind of
Right, yeah.
stuff.
Because
you
I've
know?
hired bands for, events and stuff like that for businesses, and I never paid any royalties.
Yeah, and
Most of it was just cover bands, but
yeah. Well, that's the thing is that the music world is still Wild West. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like no one knows what's going on. It's like there's all these legal ways to do things, but there's also most people will take under the table way before, like,
Right,
oh,
yeah.
here's your I-9 and your 1099, and you know, it's
we,
like,
we paid them good, though. We paid the bands good. So
yeah, I
it
mean,
was- yeah.
and most
feel
musicians,
bad
that's
about
all
it.
you want to do is just you just want to go play, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times these licensing endeavors, you know, it's hurting the musicians more than it's helping them, you know.
Yeah.
It's like New York, like here in North Carolina, the whole brewery has opened up a scene where, you know, people can go and make a living just playing at breweries. Like
Yeah.
if you wanted to just go hit breweries every single weekend and you like just go all around North Carolina, you can make really great money. But now they're like, there's all these licensing issues, so all those gigs, they're just like diminishing, and
Yeah.
so new music isn't going to grow. So it's like the
Someone else
more
is
you-
controlling your material.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's just crazy.
I think that's the benefit of self-producing your music.
Yeah.
And I think you can today.
That's my thing is that I always thought that, you know, the first record I made, I spent a lot of money on it, and it was cool. I mean, it's done well, and it's like and I wouldn't not do it again, you know.
Yeah.
But then I did one where I did it all like myself, and I put that out, and that's what signed. Like I got signed to a label from this CD that I did all by myself with all my friends, and like a local producer who was my friend, and a home studio. Like it wasn't like a big budget production. And then I was on a label and went out and recorded in an awesome studio with like super great like session musicians, had any guitar I'd want to play. You know, they had just like a collection of the coolest guitars, and like it was great, and the CD sounded great, but I have no control over any of it, you know. It's like that's the thing.
Was it monetarily worth it? I mean, do you think you'd have made more money if you self-produced it?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's all like, because the more people that have it's the music industry. It's like a quick like spider web crack on the windshield. It's like that first rock that hits, that's the music, and then it splits out, and then you have your manager, and then you have your publisher, and then you have your label, and then you have your publicist, and you have like all these different cracks.
Just a bunch of hands reaching into the pot.
Yeah. And so then it's like by the end of it, you're making like maybe like 15% of like the profit.
Same with
Wow.
movies. Yeah.
Of what you, if you even do, because you got to recoup before you get paid. You
Yeah.
know? And it's just like, well, that was fun. I'm glad it wasn't that many songs, you know. It's like, and like, it's made me super protective about my music. About like, okay, well, I love this song. I'm not going to do anything with it until I know I can, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just 100% mine. And it's just, there's so many rules when someone else is paying the bill, you know.
Right.
If you do it all by yourself, it's like I've spent $0 on recording like the last two singles I put out. It's just all been in my house, and it's like me and my wife have done the artwork for it, and shooting videos at the house. Like we're our own little production team, and we can put out content as much as we want, you know. But it's also, you know, it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And it's just the world right now it's not the most creatively nurturing place.
Yeah, right.
Nurturing.
Yeah.
But
More stable.
it's also like really like writing. Like I think that's the most important part about the time we're in right now is documenting it. Like you don't have to be going out there and like like pushing it in front of people's face. It's like I think this is the time to collect. You know? That's what I've been doing. I'm collecting. It's like, oh, this is my experience. Oh, this song came out of nowhere. Oh,
Yeah.
but it deals with this. Like I wrote one song. I put it out last year. I was planning on playing it today. It's called Hello Old Sunshine, and I put it out back in December, I believe. And it's crazy what has happened since then, because the song lyrics are just like, holy cow!
Wow.
Like this is like Nostradamus stuff.
Now I want to hear the song.
Yeah.
Those ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy because it's like hello old, like the lyrics. First one is hello old sunshine. What's what? Hello old sunshine. I don't know. I have to sing it. I can't just think of the.
I got you.
But it's
Yeah.
like I'll sing it later. But then the
Yeah.
second verse is like popcorn lung in movies on the nightly news, and like that's like every day there's a different way to kill yourself. At least you get a chance to choose.
Yeah.
You know? And like right now, like
I've got a
that
bit about that
lyric
too.
is-
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Just because the whole, you know, vaping, like I smoked for years and I still dabble. You know, it's
Yeah.
an addiction you can't run away from.
Well, you know, the vaping was nonsense though. It was created by so all those vaping deaths
Yeah.
were actually
See, we like
illegal
marijuana?
black market THC products,
that's
and they had vitamin E in them, and it got blown up by the tobacco industry. It was a big corporate
sting.
to try to knock out vaping, because Philip Morris owns 35% of Juul. And when I first saw it, I was like, I know something's up with this, because it doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Because they were attacking Juul, and Juul had nothing to do with the problem.
Yeah.
And any other company would fight back against that and be like, hey, look, we didn't do anything wrong. We're going to sue you because this isn't right. But they didn't do that. They actually started removing products from the shelves.
I know.
Which was insane. I was like, something's up. So I did some research on it, and I found out that in 2018, Philip Morris bought 35% of Juul for like $12 billion. And
Follow the money.
it was all fake. They just made it up because they were trying. They've done this a few years ago. We had some clients in the vaping industry, some retail clients. We do some retail consulting
Yeah.
and help people open businesses and show them how to price products and stuff like that. And they had tried several years ago to do something similar. They were trying to create a legislation that would put, regulations on vaping products where you'd have to pay like $380,000 per flavor, per nicotine level. Even if it had zero nicotine, you'd still have to pay $385,000 just for that product, just to have it to have a license to produce that product. So what they were trying to do was Big Tobacco was trying to shut down all the small businesses, all the mom and pops, and take over the industry, so they could monopolize it. And it's the same thing they did this time with that and they even had Trump out there like bashing the vaping, which I think he actually found out about it that it was nonsense. But he mentioned it in one of his speeches. I was like, what is that's insane? Like, what's happening?
He was doing it to protect his son, he said.
And I have a bit about it. It's funny, but it's all nonsense. Yeah.
That it was, the Juul. I feel like that one, because I went to the Juul and I had the big vape. I had all the different ones because I didn't like the big vape because it was just like, here I am. Yeah. And then, but the Juul, it was sneaky. But then I was like sleeping with it, waking up in the middle of the night, hitting it. And I was like, this is too much, man. This is too much. It's like,
the thing that scares me about the Juul is when will they start putting chemicals in that? Because the cigarette companies like chemicals that addict you.
Yeah.
Because vaping is less addictive and it's healthier. I don't want to say healthy. It's better for you. It's less harmful.
It's just like I don't know, man. It was cool to smoke. Now it's not cool to smoke.
Well, also
it was cool to vape, and then
cigarettes.
It's not cool to vape.
Cigarettes kill 500,000 people a year in the U.S.
Yeah,
there were 50 deaths from vaping that weren't even related to nicotine. They were illegal vapes, and it's just like that's like 1/100,000th of 1% of the people who vape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it was just completely preposterous.
Yeah, it's
but people believe it. Like, I mean, I had friends that were saying, "Oh man, did you see that people died from vaping?" I was like, like 2 people?
You've seen
50 people, yeah, out of 40 million people.
It's just crazy. Like, just because also, like, in the arts, that's another thing. I started smoking on a movie set at the School of Arts out in Winston. Because I was like, first day, I was not smoking. Second day, everybody was smoking. So I was like, I better start smoking because, like, I want to be able to sit and, like, hang out. And throughout I always tell people that, smoking's bad, but I've met more people smoking than any other place.
Fortunately, I missed that one, so I've always avoided that.
Yeah. I don't condone smoking, but it's just there. It's like that's like most people like in the arts, they smoke because that's what everybody does. It's just like it's like that's what you do. That's where all the people that you want to talk to are hanging out. So I got to go to the Academy Awards when I was in college because my aunt worked for Disney and she got a ticket, and so I went with her, and it was cool. It was a cool experience, but I went to go smoke a cigarette, and I got to the door, and I was like, where am I supposed to smoke at? And this guy was like, well, Sean Penn just went that way. And I was like, all right, I'll follow him. And so I walk up, and he's sitting on a bench, and it's in the, where the Kodak building is and everything out there. He's just sitting on a bench, and I was like, is this where we're supposed to smoke? And he was like, I am. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a place. And so I sat down, and we chatted and had a cigarette together.
That's
and
cool.
Went back in, and he won Best Actor for Milk. And I was just like, if I wasn't smoking, I would never had that experience.
Yeah.
But
so if you want to meet some celebrities, cancer's worth it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's like,
what are you willing to sacrifice?
What's the price you'll pay?
Yeah.
But it's like now is not the time to be smoking for sure.
No, yeah.
And it's just wild because I've gone through so many paradigm shifts over the past couple of years. It's like drinking nightly to like not drinking. And then it's like smoking cigarettes, like a pack a day every day for like 15 years to like not. And it's just like, who am I? You know?
That's awesome. You have strong willpower. A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's a battle. It's a battle of like, it's like, is this worth it? It's like, because smoking is the one that is way easier to like. Drinking, I'm not really that crazy about it anyway, because like when you stop, you're just like, holy cow, I can wake up and not feel bad. It's like that's the biggest thing, because like I had digestive problems. I woke up every day like would not get going unless I had like a Red Bull and a couple cups of coffee and ate like something greasy to try to make myself feel okay, and then like I stopped and like didn't have digestive problems anymore. And then I didn't, like, I wake up at like 7 every day now, and it's just like,
nice.
It's a different part of the day,
Yeah.
And it's just like, the only thing is when you stop drinking, you really realize like how being like the sober culture, like I don't like sober culture just because it's like, I feel like it just constantly makes you, it's like, okay, we can't do this. You can't go to a bar. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it's like, you can, just don't do one thing,
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's
club
just,
soda, tonic water. It's
Yeah.
great stuff.
Other sparkling,
Pellegrini.
Yeah.
There's a company, I can't think of the name of it. It's an organization, and there are these doctors that help people with alcoholism and stuff. And instead of teaching them abstinence, they teach them self-control.
Yeah,
and I think that's
like,
better.
Just don't, just like when
Yeah.
I got rid of my like counter app and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, let's just let it be. It's like I don't need. It's once you break that just dependency every night. The first bit was rough, but now it's just like I'm not thinking about it all the time, and it's just more of a. Just learning to be like, okay, well, I don't have to be crazy drunk all the time to like, that was the hard part with music. It was like being like, I have to play sober, it's like, and it's just like, it wasn't fun because you're like in a bar where everyone's drinking and then people want to buy you shots and you're like, sorry, I can't, And it's like, I felt bad just being like, just like not drinking and just like telling people, sorry, no, it's like, it just is. It was such a weird shift, but it's a slippery slope either way. If you like fall into a relapse, it's super easy to just be like, oh, well, I'm not that bad,
I think if you take the stigma off of it, though, you're not as likely to just go all in.
I know.
Like where you allow yourself, I can have a drink, but I'm not going to go crazy. Like I know my limits.
Yeah. My friend, like one of my really good friends, he's my old drummer in the Heavy Heavy Hearts. Like he's been sober his whole life, and like talked to him a lot about it, like when first went down this path, and he was like, dude, like just know, like if you slip up, like people when they relapse, like they're so much worse like than the relapse itself, like on themselves,
like a guilt thing.
And it's just like letting yourself be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that again. It's like instead of being like, well, it's all for nothing. It's like, and having these just mental like cages.
Which seems like it would make them relapse harder.
Yeah,
because they're disappointed in themselves, like they feel like they've done something wrong, which they
And
haven't.
it's like,
It's their
hey.
body. If they want to have a drink, then maybe they should learn how to control that urge.
And it's just like just chilling out and being able to be around things. But it's just learning how to be more mature,
Right.
It's like in the music industry, you're told never grow up, It's like you got to be this wild spirit that like catches people's attention because like like open mic, unless you do something to like make people go, whoa, what was that? It's like no one's gonna care, and that's why open mics are great, because you get those opportunities to be like, well, I didn't do it tonight, or it's like, hey, I got one person.
It worked. Yeah.
That's always like, I tell people when you're starting out, just try to get one person. Like just try to impress one person or just connect to one person. And They don't have to buy all of your stuff. It's just like, if you are reaching someone, you're on the right path, and just
Right.
like, just do that again. You know, it's like, follow that. That's the way you should be going. Don't worry about like 10 tips to become the coolest person in your town. You know? It's like,
And if you're not being real, then people are going to see it. You know, if you're
Yeah.
just trying to put on an act
Yeah.
and pretend like you're something you're not, or you know, if it's not what's the word?
Genuine?
If it's not genuine, people will know it. They'll see it.
yeah.
You know.
And it's hard to like convince yourself of what that genuine is. You
Right,
know?
yeah.
It's like that's what I think a lot of people get lost trying to play the part of, oh, well, this is the person I have to be to like do this. Like as a musician, I was just like, I gotta, like, it's okay if I drink a whole bunch. You know, it's okay if I like am reckless and like just acting like a crazy person all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's okay, because that's I'm a musician, and I'm supposed to be the person that people are like, well, that guy's he's a wild one. You know, it's like, let's go see what he does tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's being on the other side. It's just like, man, I just don't even want to do like social media or anything like anymore, because it's just like, I could write, I could put it out. And if you like what I do, you'll see it. You know, it's like, I'll put up a post. Like I post like maybe once a month nowadays, but you know, people that want to hear what I'm doing, they find out.
Yeah.
If I tell them or not, you know, it's like they'll find out.
Yeah.
It's like, that's who you do it for. You do it for the people that are paying attention, and they'll find it if they need it.
Yeah. I've noticed too, as I've gotten older, it was really like a freeing experience just to define who I wanted to be, who I am, who I'm okay with being, and what do I want my life to look like. And now I'm at a point, and it's been this way for a few years, where like I know what's important to me, and it's not what other people say are important. Matter of fact, it
Yeah.
differs vastly from what other people think is important. And I know what I'm willing to sacrifice. I know what links I'm willing to go to, and I know where those lines are, and they're clear for me. And being able to be honest with myself about that, and also be honest with the people I care about, made my life immensely easier. Right?
It's freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I've experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like you just reach a place in life where you're comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not trying to impress people or
That's right.
or put on an image. It's just
Yeah.
you just being you. And
You don't have to smoke or drink because other people
Yeah.
drink. Like if you want to drink, drink. You want to
Yeah.
you want to do lines of Coke on the table? Hey, have at it. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Have fun.
It's like, hey,
You know.
different strokes for different
Exactly,
folks.
right. But I think at some point in the past, and those are extreme examples, I think there was some point in the past where you did things to make others happy,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
Yeah.
miserable because
Yeah.
of it. You know, and I just, if I ever catch myself even starting to do that, I go, you know, hey man, I appreciate you. Have fun. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, and there's the I'm very into the esoteric world, and a lot of things that people will hear is like shadow. It's like your shadow self, and it's like made out to be like you got to go to battle with your shadow self, you know, before you can finally find the real you. And it's true, and people look at it as that, but it's like the things that you fight against, like the things that make you like super uncomfortable in life, like with me it was drinking. It's like I always like was like don't I'm not crazy, you know. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional, you know. and it's like I fought that side, but then once I let it go, it was just like this huge weight where it's just like, oh, maybe, you know, these people were saying things that were true, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things in life, you know. It's like I fight against social media, and I don't think like that's my shadow I'm currently dealing with, like being like, all right, I know I have to do this to help like my
Promote yourself, yeah,
business,
support it, yeah.
and but you know, I just like every time I get on there, I'm just like I get this kind of anxiety where I'm just like, I got to post, but I don't know what to post. I'll post tomorrow. You know,
You should find a like a college kid or somebody that's in media
and just
Yeah.
be like,
and
have
so
at it.
and have them promote your social media for you.
Well, I'm gonna
pay them a
go-
little bit or do something to help them.
I want to
Yeah.
go backwards here though. So, and I get it. This is the business owner in me.
Yeah.
The business owner in me finds people with talent, right? Because I don't have musical talent, right? But I think I can identify and see what other people like, and I can identify a talent and help that talent flourish. So one of the things I do is I solve problems, right? So like when I'm hearing you speak the last 40 minutes so far, right? I'm hearing you describe problems that you don't like to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, the way that you and I would be symbiotic is that I help solve problems. I help take these tasks that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And in exchange for that, I get some of the revenue you generate, right? I think the problem is that you're giving away too much of your revenue, right?
Yeah.
But you're also experiencing the other end of that problem, which is where, hey, I'm going to just do 100% of everything myself and be less efficient because of it,
Yeah.
have less reach, have less people. So maybe what he was just getting at is maybe you need to figure out some type of middle ground where you are willing to you be the one, but you need to employ these other people to do these things that cause you all this stress.
So what Daniel's saying is that we're going to start a social media company.
Yeah.
You got your first client.
Yeah, you're going to be number one, right?
Yeah.
And
Well-
we won't take 85%.
That's right, yeah.
Well, and that's been like in music, a big cliche is that everyone's like, oh, well, this is my manager, you know.
Oh,
I got to
yeah.
talk to my manager. And
Yeah.
I've had many a manager. Like I think I've had 3 or 4 different managers so far, and like every time it's just like, okay, you know, it's like they'll be like, this is what we got to do, you know, and you got to still pay me, you know. It's like, you got to pay me X% to do, but you should go do this. You do this, you do this, you do this. And it's like, but then you realize like they're not doing anything except being like, yeah, that might be a good idea, you know. And it's like,
Yeah, that's not a manager then. That's just somebody with their hand in your pocket.
Yeah. If you have
Well-
a good manager, it's good to have. Like, it's good to have a good agent in acting. I have a
Yeah.
great agent.
Oh
you know,
yeah, no,
she's
agents
awesome.
are awesome, but
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, it's so easy for people to
Yeah.
just take advantage of,
No,
like,
it
because I've had some very disheartening moments in music where it's just like people just take advantage of you because you're a nice guy. And
Yeah.
you'll just say yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And that must be common in that industry. And I think
It
maybe
is.
it's common in other things, but I'll tell you from our side, like when I invest in things, I feel like more so we invest in people, right? And to me, it's just plain math here. Like, okay, hey, we're going to put $100,000 behind you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's what we're going to do, and here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring value. You're going to bring value, right? This is the plan together. Here's what the steps we're going to follow, and how are we both motivated in this
Yeah, how is
transaction,
this
right?
gonna make
And
it
if
better?
I'm not bringing value to you, then there's no reason. Just like you, basically, you had a bunch of people that weren't bringing value, so you just decided, you know what, I can do this myself.
Yeah.
Why would I let you have your hand in my pocket when you're not bringing value? I think that inherently is part of the issue is the people that bring value probably are really, really hard to get to, and they only take on certain people.
Yeah.
Right.
And you get a lot of people that fake it.
Yeah.
And
Because we experience that we have a
Oh, yeah.
lot of people. You know how many people I know that are awesome at faking. They do all these amazing things.
it's all bullshit.
And it's yeah, like they own this, they own that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
and it's just rampant.
Yeah.
And they're asking Daniel for advice.
Yeah, they're out giving people literally. I'm not going to blast anybody, but I know people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, that some more than that are making millions of dollars a year in social media, and they're asking for me. Now, this may sound difficult, but they're asking me advice on how to run ROIs on a single-family duplex, right? On a they want to live on one side, rent the other side out, right? They want to do like very basic things, simple things, and they don't even know how to do that. But yet they're on social media going to the world like they're this, and so it's just really frustrating for
I
me.
read a book every day and
Yeah.
look at all these cars.
Yeah.
It's like self-help people, you know, like they've never started a business, but
Yeah.
they're making millions of dollars.
Yeah,
on
let me
self-help
sell you
books.
this core, and I'm not dogging everybody.
And
There are
it's-
some
but
value.
It's useful. It
Yeah.
helps people. You know,
There is.
anything to
It's
inspire
motivation,
people.
It is,
Yeah.
man. It's
It's
motivation.
entertainment. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
And motivation is like showering. You should do it daily.
Motainment.
Yeah.
Motivational entertainment.
And so they do bring value, because if all they did was encourage you to read the book or encourage you to try and attain this new skill, then it was successful, right?
Right,
yeah.
The problem is they're all doing this. Like, for the most part, they're all doing the same thing, which is okay, and it's not their fault that it works.
Yeah.
Right.
But for us, it's extremely, like, we've done thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions, and it's funny to see people that have done no transactions that are wildly successful.
Yeah.
And to what you're saying too, and I know Daniel feels the same way I do about this. We like to see people succeed. If we work on a project with someone and we can help them make their project work or
Yeah.
give them an opportunity,
Yeah.
we like to see them be successful. And we actually, I mean, most of the deals we consult for and the people we help, we don't, we take a small percentage.
Yeah.
You know, we just they're the ones making the most. Our idea is you create a lot of opportunities and you get a small part of each opportunity.
Yeah.
And then you get people that are happy. So like if someone's producing your music, they'd be better off getting a small percentage and then keeping you happy.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
you'll keep producing more music.
That's right.
Well, and there's another predicament, because then in Nashville, there's, are you going to be a songwriter or are you going to be an artist, and it's, do you want to just write songs and have whoever sing them, or do you want to write songs and sing them yourself and sing other
Yeah.
people's? And that's been like a line that I've always gone back and forth on, and that's the next shadow, is to be like, all right, which one is it? Draw a line in the sand. Let's see what it's going to be. But I just don't, it's like sometimes I love performing, sometimes I don't, but I always write. That's the thing. And
Yeah.
I write there's a company out of Chicago called Songfinch, which has been my favorite thing since it started. It's like personalized songs for people's like weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, Mother's
Oh, that's
Day, Valentine's, like any occasion you'd want like a song. And I've written like over 50 songs for them, just for like random people, from like just like, we want to, like, one song was about sea otters and ghost pirates, and then and it's like,
I think we're gonna have to check this out and
Yeah.
Is
get,
that
get
like a
something written.
psychedelic party?
Yeah.
What was that?
Now wait, now are you just like you're just writing out the song? You're not actually performing it, right?
no, you write, record it, send
Oh,
it
wow.
off. You're
No,
good
we
go.
got to get on Songfinch and we'll just go straight to the source. We got to come up with something we want
Yeah,
written.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
do it.
We're gonna
What's it cost?
Yeah,
What's-
yeah, there we go.
So they changed it. It used to be so you could get a from scratch song, like just absolutely brand new, whatever kind of song you wanted, and I think that one was like $250.
That's
But
cheap.
they scrapped it, and now you have like a verse or you have like a chorus that's pre-written, that's pretty general, that'll work for like different occasions for people, and then you just get to customize the verses.
Oh, okay.
But I think that one is $200 now.
Wow.
So we need to get a custom from him, but I got some crazy ideas already in my head now.
Dude, hit me up.
Yeah, we're
Right
gonna have fun
for-
with this.
Like Our State Magazine, I've done a couple different things with them. What is it? Christina Koch? I don't know. I'll have to see. It's an astronaut. She's from Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Oh, that's cool.
But they interviewed her for their podcast, and they were like, hey, do you have any like spacey songs? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they told me that they had interviewed her because she just set the record for the longest time for a female astronaut in space.
Yeah.
Nice.
I heard it was easier for women in space than men, so
I don't know. Never been.
That was a fake fact. I didn't figure out.
Fact check. Fake news
Fact
right
check
there.
this.
Yeah. But they told me, and I was like, that's super cool. And so I just wrote a song like specifically for her, and she listened to it in outer space, and I was like,
That's awesome.
That's cool, man.
I've had a song in space.
Hey.
And I didn't get paid for it. It was just like fun,
Yeah.
There was like, do you
Okay.
have anything that might work for this? And I was like, I'll just write you something, and that's the way.
What did they sell it, or you just?
No, they just put it on the podcast.
Okay, well,
you
that's
know,
cool.
And
Yeah.
it's just like
So that's
at
a good
the very
promotional
end.
thing for you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I think music has been missing a lot these days. It's like you used to write songs about things, and now it's just kind of like we gotta follow the formula.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like writing songs for people, and specific things. It's been fun, and that goes back to the craft side. It's like I'm not inspired. Like this is not my inspiration. It's like they need something for this, so this is the structure I go through, and then you just kind of let your mind run and tap into the muse that just
Yeah.
like, because I always the more I try to write a song, the longer it takes me, but the more I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna set the recorder to go, and then I'm just gonna kind of riff. I'm just gonna let it go, and you stop judging yourself, and you just kind of like let it happen, and you're just like, here's all these lyrics that I just didn't
Yeah.
even know I had.
And you can get inspiration from other people's ideas too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a seed. You plant that seed, and then you just go to town on it, and ideas come out.
Yeah.
When we do that with business stuff, like
Yeah.
brainstorming sessions.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes the pressure off of it too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot. I
Like-
think it's a lot easier if someone else throws out an idea and you can
Yeah,
run with
it's
it.
like, oh, okay, I got that.
Yeah, because when you're trying to come up with your own ideas, that's when seems more. That's when you have writer's block and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or at least for me, that's
Yeah.
when you're trying too hard to think of something. Because my best ideas usually just randomly come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's like with Songfinch, it's a pretty fast turnaround. It's like 4 days you have to write, record, and send it back off.
Wow.
You know.
Now, so if somebody's buying that song from you, do they own the song?
They don't.
Through Songfinch, I guess.
It's not meant to be like, I'm gonna go put this out. It's
Right.
like more of like a gift thing. I don't think people are really gonna go and like try to be like, hey, check out my new song on Spotify. It's sang by this guy and written by this guy about my mom and dad.
Yeah.
But like, it gets complicated with that.
Yeah.
It's like, so the people writing, you still own the track technically.
Okay.
You know, but
That's more like, to me, that sounds more like just something that's good for you to just get practice
it's like
on writing.
greeting cards, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's
greeting cards.
the way I would look at
Yeah.
it. And like they recently partnered up with a greeting card marketing company, and it's been working really well because like that's the market that they're looking at. And
Yeah.
but it's just I tell people, like, I try to get all my songwriting friends hooked up with it because I'm just like, this will make you write.
I was
Like,
gonna say, yeah,
you
it's
have a
good.
deadline, and like I used to be like, okay, this day I'll work on this day I'll work on this day I'll work on that, and then now it's just kind of like, all right, let me knock them out. Like, let's
What if
just
you're
knock
just
it
a
out.
writer?
That's a big thing in Nashville. You become a staff writer for like a publisher.
Yeah.
And you have to write X amount of songs a year, and they pay you salary, you know, and it's a cool deal. But it's just there's so many people there going after, you know, it's like there's to like make it an easy example. It's like there's 100 songwriters and there's 10 jobs, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like all these people are going for these jobs that there's nothing, you know.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like there's minimal amount, so it's like way easier. It's a better chance to bet on yourself to just go out and get like exposure for yourself, and because you can make really good money as a musician if you develop, like, even if you have like 20 people come in like to every show, if you're playing like
Yeah.
4 nights a week to 20 people and they all buy a shirt or a CD and they pay to get in, and you know, it's,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it's a good little chunk of change you can make, but it's just you gotta keep grinding it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I know there's some I guess underground bands that make 7 figures a year just from
Yeah.
touring.
Yeah.
And it's just all you gotta. The touring aspect is a grind. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you gotta be ready. I'm gonna be in the car for at least like 4 to 6 hours every day.
Yep.
And I'm gonna sleep in some random place. It's like sometimes you'll have like, hopefully you have a hotel room or somewhere you can sleep on a floor or something. You know, or you're
Yeah.
sleeping in the car, and you're eating nothing but like gas station food, you know, because you have to just keep moving.
Yeah.
And I love Loves. That's like my favorite place because
That's great, yeah.
they're all over the place and the cleanest like bathrooms you'll find.
Yeah, we travel a lot too,
Yeah.
so that's a good one. Yeah.
It's funny. We've been in the car and we just because you're in that path, right? And it's funny. I literally will just pull over at the exact same gas station without planning it. And I'll know, like I could be in a 13-hour trip and end up stopping at the same gas stations without actually mapping it out.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that they're clean. I like it. But restrooms are very important. to us.
Talking
Big
about
deal,
bathrooms,
dude.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to do like insert Jesse. Can we like insert some like little water dripping noise?
Don't do it. I gotta go too.
Hey, we can call it a break.
Call
Yeah,
a
yeah.
break?
But he can cut it and we can hit back. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I gotta.
And we're back.
Yeah. And we feel better.
Feel much better. I'm going to be squirming less in my seat
I know.
now.
I was
We're
like
all like
slowly
tits.
getting.
Yeah. When he said it, I was like, oh, I'd love to go too. And then you said something. I was like, yes.
Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of like when you're asleep and you have to go to the bathroom, you start dreaming about it.
Yeah.
Before we started talking about bathrooms, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
Good old Loves.
He's
Comes
like,
in clutch every
I
time.
love Loves. And he's like, yeah, we love bathrooms. And I was like, yeah, I love them.
Let's go check some out.
Let's take a piss break. You got to piss? Yeah, I got to piss too.
Yeah, when the conversation completely turns to going to the bathroom, there's a reason.
You know what just happened is anybody that's out there watching this right now, as you're watching this, you probably just took a bathroom break.
Or they're in their car hating their life.
Where's that next exit at?
Fucking guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just looking
you-
for the love.
You assholes. I recommend Love's. I love some Quick Trip.
Yeah. Pilots are not that bad.
Not terrible. If you're in an area where there's a Wawa, Wawa's typically good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends.
Whenever I go to Nashville, I have the same spots I stop.
Yeah.
Exit 44.
Hey,
up in
listen.
Nashville.
If you're in Mooresville, and there's 2 Quick Trips in Mooresville, and I'm a huge Quick Trip fan, but if you're in Mooresville, North Carolina, Lake Norman, you need to stop at the Brawley Mart. On Brawley, it's family owned. Retired Major League Baseball player and his family own it. But
It's nice.
It's nice. It's well ran. It's people in the community that live there. I mean, like, top of the line. So if you're going to go to a spot in Mooresville, you got to check that spot out.
Where's
Mooresville's
77.
north of, it's off 77, north of Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been there.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that near Uwharrie National Park?
No, it's right between Charlotte and Statesville.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Uwharrie would
Yeah,
be 85, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that was like a big thing that.
I just realized you haven't lived yet. You've been to California, you've been to Tennessee, you've been all these things, right? But you have not been to Mooresville.
Haven't been to Mooresville.
And now I'm going to offend a bunch of people, and I'm not going to do the NASCAR impression properly. So I'm just going to call it, it's Race City, USA, man. But
It really is.
but yeah, dude, it's
a nice area,
when
though.
you enter, it does have some signs in certain angles that say Race City, USA. I'm not a NASCAR. I don't watch NASCAR, so there's too many left turns for me.
Yep.
Is it left turns or right turns?
Yeah.
I think it's a left turn. Yeah, it's definitely left.
Yeah, but it's just too many lefts for me. Maybe it's rights. I don't know. But either way, I can't deal with it.
I
And
know,
but
it's-
a lot of NASCAR drivers live there, and there's a lot of racing stuff that goes on. There's a dragway. There's a lot, right? But that's not why I'm there, obviously. But it's a nice area. It's kind of like a mixture of a family town that's had the major growth of being a suburb of Charlotte.
Okay.
So
We live right on the lake, too. It's like
yeah.
going to Daniel's house is like going to a resort.
Yeah,
Got the boat?
I appreciate that. I'm in the middle of Brook Dock. Brook is building our dock, his Fox Docks, and I think we're maybe on the home stretch like the last 3 or 4 weeks. And we got a 2-story dock being built, and I'm just really weird. I'm not gonna, whatever the amount the boat cost, I'm not gonna buy a boat at that price point, and then not have the dock done, right, and have a place to put it. I'm not the guy. I'm not the handy guy. I'm not going to trailer it. I'm not going to put it in. Like, literally, when I buy it, I want them to put it in the water and probably deliver it to my house. And if it ever needs anything done to it, I want them to get it out of the water. I don't want a trailer. I don't want to get it out of the water. I don't want to deal with any of that. So, like,
You don't want a hobby.
I don't want to. It becomes a job then, right?
It's just a tool.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
just want to, like, hey, with my wife and my kids, hey, you guys want to go out in the water? Let's go. And I literally want to walk through my backyard, get on the dock, and go.
There you go.
I don't want to deal with, and Brooke, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Brooke, and he has a, he owns a dock business. He has a dock, but he trailers his boat. He doesn't like to leave it in the water. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I get that that's his thing, right? And his justification is he doesn't want to pay the higher fuel prices in the water, right? But I would rather pay $1 extra a gallon than fight the people at the ramp for 2 hours during a busy Friday or Saturday, right, to get in and out of the water. And there's a lot of craziness. They get out there and they're drinking and they're doing this stuff. I don't want to deal with any of that. I like the peace and tranquility of my house, and I just want to walk out and get on it and leave and use it. So anyway, I don't have a boat yet. It's on my list. I imagine we'll have one in 3 or 4 weeks. So
Nice.
it's on the list. My wife, you now, and my wife have asked me multiple times today. So.
Well, if you need a band for the boat.
Oh, I'm thinking so,
There you
man.
go.
I think
Yeah.
we're gonna have to hold like a little mini concert. But see, here's the thing: like it'll be a paid gig, right? We'll hold like a little mini concert, but then we can also everybody can go out and hang out and have a good time on the
It'd be a
water.
sweet place for a concert on top
Yeah,
of the
There is.
dock,
wouldn't that be
man.
awesome?
That'd be really cool.
Oh man,
It's a great place
If
for
you-
it, man.
there
you
was-
could do it on the top
Yeah,
dock. Man, I
on
got
the
like
dock,
1,000
yeah.
square foot on the top, the second floor. This could be awesome.
Yeah.
How many amps? Like, listen, I got a breaker being put in, and he had a 40 amp breaker. I told him that wasn't enough. We went to 60. You think that's enough to run all your equipment? And you don't think I need to call him and tell him I need 100
We'll
amps,
see.
man. He's like, "What are you gonna do? I'm gonna hold concerts on the top floor, man. What are you talking about?"
There was, I'm trying to think of what year it was. It was probably, I don't know, probably like around 2015. I was on tour with a band called Them Dirty Roses. They're from Alabama, but like I wrote a couple songs, or I've written multiple songs with them, and they've recorded a couple of different ones. And one year, I was playing bass for a girl named Kirsty Lovelady, and they were on tour together. and one of the gigs was they were playing a show in the middle of the Alabama River for 4th of July. So they had boats come and pick up all of our stuff and drive us out to this barge. They just had a barge out there with a stage on it, and everybody came and like parked their boats all around it. That was the coolest thing I've
That's
ever
really cool.
done with music, was just like go right out onto a barge and play like 4th of July,
Dude.
just in the middle of the Alabama River.
You just made me slightly upset that my boat and everything may not be finished by July 4th, and then you just gave me a ton of ideas. Definitely gonna have to get more.
Get you a barge, man.
I'm gonna put you guys
They
up
just
on the
had
top.
generators on those.
Next
man.
July 4th on the top of this dock, and I'm going to have rows. I'm on main channel, so we're going to have rows of boats around you guys. We'll do a performance, right? And then we'll time it to when you'll have fireworks going off in 7 directions from everywhere else. This would be awesome, and it'll be free to
I
everybody
want it
on
in
the water.
writing. I want it in writing.
This would be awesome.
Yeah, boat shows are the
Oh, he'll
coolest.
do it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want any money for it. I mean, like literally everybody can come and have fun.
Just need to get that guy out there too, the lifestyle videographer.
Oh yeah. Oh, we record. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a video that's gonna drop maybe this week, and But anyway, we have a really talented guy. His name's Vince.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rising junior at App, and I met him. I think I met him when he was going to be what do they call it? An incoming freshman at App, and a guy named Tanner Plains, who's big in social media and does a lot of things. He's been an entrepreneur since he was like 14. Introduced me to him. So this really talented film student, and now I think he's the co-chair of the App film department, and they do all the stuff. So he came out and recorded, but he's extremely, extremely talented. He hasn't. I know he knows he's good. He hasn't quite figured out that
He's
he's
really
as good as he
talented in
is.
a certain type of production
Yeah.
too. It's like
Yeah.
this lifestyle type film production. He's really good at it.
He's very good at it, but maybe we have him out and he can bring the drones and do the stuff, and he does all kinds of stuff. He's predominantly certain videos, but he's done some rap videos, but he also just did a building implosion.
Oh, dang.
I believe it was in Richmond, and he sent me some footage I can't share with anybody, and obviously once he gets it the way he wants it, he's going to release it, but it was pretty awesome, right, to see a building implode on itself. And he got that contract with a buddy of his who I think is one of the larger drone recorders on the East Coast. And so, like, but these are young guys, man. They're talented guys. Vince is a talented guy. He's got an eye.
Yeah.
We did some pretty crazy things recently in the last week, but we'll have him come out and we'll have a good time.
drone videos, those
Changed
blow my
everything.
mind.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just too cool.
Vince, I'm sorry, buddy. I got to tell a story. This may or may not have happened. So a picture, and I don't know. And Vince is probably like $130. I'm gonna insult him and say to me, because I'm a big guy, right? He looks like he's like 95 pounds, 100 pounds soaking wet to me, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, he's just a smaller guy, right? But picture him with his App book bag and a bungee cord tied to the back of his book bag, and that bungee cord inside his car wrapped around the headrest of his car, and he's hanging out the back with the trunk open, filming me going down the road. This may or may not have happened. I'm just saying hypothetically. It would be awesome if it did, right? And he's getting this kick-ass footage, and I'm driving behind him, and I mean, like, the adult in me is going, this is a really bad idea. This is a terrible, terrible idea.
This is like something you would do when you're that age.
When I was there, I got home on my way, and it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I met up with him at like 6, and I spent that long with him. Maybe it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I had some work to do. I did a couple hours of work afterwards. Again, as an adult, go out and have fun. Now I got 2 or 3 hours of work to do before I can go to bed. And then we had a meeting. We had a huge meeting the next morning, like 4 hours later. But so I did all my stuff. But I got home, my wife said, Jeff, I had way too much fun. I had way too much fun. But now I see, I don't want to be out at cookout at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to be out doing it's great. And I get to visit that world.
You're
and
too old, man.
I'm too, man. Like, they had a blast, bro. They had a blast. I had a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God, I'm so thankful nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you gotta do some crazy things to get some cool shots. Sometimes.
Man, wait till you see it. Wait till you see it. I hope I can put it out this week. There's been a lot of stuff and unrest and things going on, and I just wanted to wait and, because I'm really excited about it. It's just something I did for fun.
Yeah.
It's not to make any money. That's not what we're trying to do with this. But I didn't want to put it out, and I just wanted to wait. So maybe it'll be today. Maybe I'll put it out later this week.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, this film thing though, next July 4th, we have to see what this looks like.
Pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
we could set up a whole lineup throughout the day.
Yeah.
Make it a day.
Yeah. I got to start talking to my wife. Like, I get to do what I want, but in the home.
Yep.
Like, I'm the king of the castle, except the castle I live in.
Yep.
I got to make sure it's okay with her. She's gonna love this idea.
Oh, you have plenty of time to plan.
We got a year. I got a year to
Right.
negotiate. I'm a great negotiator.
Hey, just let me know. I'll
Yeah.
start sending you music.
Oh, I think this. I'm already in my head. I'm like, this would be awesome. This
Oh,
would be
it's a great idea. Yeah.
There's no show like a boat show.
I think this could be a lot of fun. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, we should make shirts already.
Oh,
Just saying.
hey.
Shirts.
We've got some good shirt companies.
Yeah,
So.
we got to start thinking about that. You got to make the dim sum one too.
Yeah. And dim sum.
And dim sum.
Man.
Well,
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. I love just like outdoor performances are like what Chuck Mountain we were doing this year before everything kind of took a downward slope. Our plan was to go to all the different national parks in North Carolina and film like videos at each one of them, like do live performances, but also like check out the cool little things to do in there. And we had first started doing it, and then all of a sudden, this happened. So we got a little sidetracked, but we hope to plan to keep
Definitely.
going the rest of this year.
Is that you said you just got before the show started? You had mentioned you just got back from camping. Did you guys go to URA or?
We went to Hanging Rock this time.
Okay, cool.
I had 2 dates reserved up there, but then the dates that we were going to go, they were doing a prescribed burn, which was pretty. You could see it this time too, which is like they burn it to just try to control
the underbrush and stuff.
Yeah,
Undergrowth.
and it was crazy. Like it was camping in like a really creepy forest this time because it was like you had like green trees and leaves, but then you had like all these like spindly burnt trees all over the place, and it was like it's kind of creepy, but it was still fun.
Good time to shoot a horror film.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was definitely
Jesse?
horror film.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just watching TV.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned URA though. My first ancestor in the U.S. actually lived in the URA, like before it was URA Forest or whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, they lived down there and they had a grist mill or something. It was like 250 years ago.
Dang.
Yeah.
A lot of my family is down in Mississippi. That was like my dad's side, so I spent a lot of time. Like they're near Tupelo, but they have a bunch of, I don't know how many acres of land, but it's a decent amount of land that I just grew up kind of roaming around in the
cool.
backwoods of Mississippi. Like every summer, would go out there and I would wear. So when I was real young, my dad had lederhosen from when they lived like overseas when they were young, like just moving around because my grandfather was in the military.
What branch?
He was Air Force.
Okay. Cool.
And so they had these lederhosen, and for some reason I was just like, yeah, that's what I want to wear in the super hot, humid Mississippi heat in the summer. I'm just going to wear this lederhosen and run all over the place. And I was just like wearing these leather pants, like all over the place, sweating like madman.
How old were you?
I was like maybe like 12, 13
That's funny.
when those were fitting, but they were just like, yeah, we had no idea why you just. And then I would carry around a canteen, but I would put hot peppers in it because I didn't drink the water, but people would always ask me for a drink of water, and they'd take a drink of water. It was just super hot pepper water.
Whoa.
I was a mean kid.
I don't say, goddamn.
I
Damn.
was always up to mischievous things.
That's funny.
That's funny.
But you get older, stop being so mischievous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you calm down.
There will be no hot pepper water at the next July 4th event.
No.
Maybe. No guarantees.
Well, maybe we should. It'd be an inside joke.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's like, oh, you're thirsty? There you go.
It is hot.
It's so hot.
Take a little sip of something like this.
Just have a really appealing container with the ice water in it, some
Oh.
limes and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Make
But,
it look like
but
it's
don't
the-
drink this water.
it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
bands
yeah.
only.
And
It's
you'll never
bands
drink
only.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go.
And then
Yeah.
it's just like pepper water.
People
Yeah.
screaming.
It's like, see, you're not in the band. That's
right.
why you can't handle it. Oh man.
That would be funny.
Well, dude, it's been awesome having you on. Do you
Yeah,
want
it's been a
to
great time.
tell people how they can?
Follow your
Fine,
monthly
yeah.
post.
Don't follow me. No,
Yeah.
I am Beau James Blues on. That's the handle. There it is. That's what it's called. My handle is Beau James Blues on Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. I'm on YouTube. I think it's just I don't have YouTube has not been my strong point. So it's if you search for Beau James, you can find stuff on there. But
I think your band has a YouTube channel,
oh
right?
yeah. We also have Chuck Mountain, chuckmountain.com. All of our social media is welcome to Chuck Mountain, which is really long. And we decided afterwards, we're like, man, this is a little long, but it's just welcome to Chuck Mountain on Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff.
No,
It shows right up when you search it.
I got to ask though, what's Chuck Mountain?
Oh, well, so
Good
Chuck
question.
Mountain was my, so I worked at a place in Nashville called The Basement. It's a venue, and the owner, everyone had little nicknames there, and I didn't have a nickname yet. And then one day there was some like kids, so The Basement is right underneath a record store, which is Grimey's, or it used to be there, it's moved now, but they had something with like kids, like going to a record release or something, because they would always have people come play. And they were coming down the stairs, and the owner of The Basement was like, hey, don't let any of these kids come in. And I was like, oh, I'll choke them out. And he was like, Chuck Mountain? That's a great nickname. That's what we're going to call you. So then Chuck Mountain became my drunk alter ego.
That's awesome.
And so then it just became the band name, because I was just fed up of trying to figure out a band name.
Fair
Band
enough.
names,
Hey, it's perfect.
it's hard coming up with a band name.
I like that story though.
Yeah,
it
it's
works.
great.
It's got something behind it.
Yeah, it does.
It's the first band name I've ever had that had something behind it. It's good.
Is it the most successful band so far?
In different ways, it's the most wide range success would probably be the Heavy Hearts, but
Okay.
but every project is special in its own way.
Right, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this one just hasn't reached its potential yet.
Yeah. No, this one's pretty new.
I got a feeling if you start choking people out,
Yeah, I'll choke them out.
yeah, man, you're probably going to be a little bit more successful. maybe.
I'm a little guy. It's very funny. Like when I used to get very drunk, I would always get very rowdy. But I'm just a tiny little guy. People just like pick me up, and they're just like, "Calm down, man."
Yeah. Stop it.
He'll tucker himself out.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah.
So you want to...
Grab the Git
Yeah.
fiddle. All right. Hello, old sunshine. When did you start to look so blue? Darkness and end times. What's with all the doom and gloom? Or should I just surrender today? Blindly accept what people say. Have no regret for the state of the world today and just go my way. Cause popcorn long and movies on the nightly news. And every day there's a different way to kill yourself. At least you get a chance to choose. Or should I just surrender today? Blindly accept what people say? Should I accept the state of the world today and just go my way? Or am I the only crazy one who can see all the damage I've done? Should I accept that I was born a fortunate one and just move on? I guess all sunshine, we'll just wait and ask the moon. I guess all sunshine, we'll just wait and ask the moon. I guess all sunshine, we'll just wait and ask the moon.
Wow.
That's awesome, man.
That was awesome.
Thanks. But yeah, it was just kind of crazy writing that, and then 2020 hit.
Wow.
Yeah, good timing.
And I make a point not to look anybody up or not to try to research, because if I don't know you, like, it for me it's good because I'm gonna ask questions that are genuine. Mm-hmm. So I purposely was like, okay, I can't watch anything he's done. I can't listen to his music. So I was completely surprised. So it was nice. It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah,
Definitely,
thanks for
man.
having me.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And if you guys enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.
Later.
See ya.
That was great, dude.
Thanks.